Hi guys, it's the Millwall here and this is our post-match thoughts video for the 3-0 loss against Leeds yesterday, and I honestly don't believe we were as bad as people are making out online. I think we started the game off really well. We put a lot of pressure onto Leeds until the incident happened, and it weren't a handball like I said in my vlog, but when in football were you allowed to lose the ball but then jump onto it to keep possession? It's just clear obstruction in my opinion, and we should have had a penalty awarded to us. And then straight after that, I think Nisbet or Bradshaw was fouled outside the box. And then after that, Leeds went on to score their counter-attack goal. And it was a good goal, to be fair to them, but it should have never got into that position in the first place. After their goal, not much else happened in the first half. So moving on to the second half. Like the first half, I think we started the second half off really well. I remember Bradshaw missing a really big chance early on. And for most of the second half, we were just putting pressure on them, really, until late on where they scored another two really good counter-attack goals. And that's just what happens when you have three quality players up top. So yeah, we lost the game 3-0. It definitely weren't a 3-0 game in my opinion. So we move on to Rotherham on Wednesday night. Come me Lions.
Hello Millwall Tube, this is my post-match analysis of the Leeds game yesterday. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I think we started off brightly. I think we were unlucky not to score a goal. And I think their first goal was certainly after a contentious incident. Never got the chance to see the replay of it, but it looked like Ayling had tried to grab it, and we certainly seemed to have someone fouled. But there again, you've got a team that's just come down from the Premiership, who can afford to splash out 20 million for players, and 3 chances they had and 3 goals they scored. Clinical finishes. We had 2 attempts on target, I think, for the whole game. The only thing I would say, it's a bit sad that recently, whenever we seem to get 5,000 day trippers turn up for a big game, we don't get the performance or the result that we'd like. And there's potentially another few hundred people who are going to turn up a few weeks or a few more regularly for other games, and potentially even more new season ticket holders. But having said that, Wednesday's game, which sadly I'm going to have to miss due to the missus' birthday, is not a must win, but we've got to beat teams like Rotherham, who are far below us on budget. They're one of the few teams who are below us on budget, and our class, which I can't say very regularly, should outshine them. So I'm expecting a good win from Millwall, a convincing win on Wednesday, and onwards and upwards. Come on, you Lions.
Hi, Millwall Tube. This is my post-match analysis of yesterday's disappointing home game against Leeds. I'm not going to lie, my initial reaction after the final whistle was totally different to the one I've got now. I was a little bit irate, to be honest with you, with the performance. Then I had a little conversation with a few in the WhatsApp group, and yeah, I think their views were probably more spot on than my initial anger. So I mean, Leeds are a quality side. One of their strikers cost more than our whole squad, and they've still got a majority of their Premiership team. So when you compare it to our squad, and I know we've got a decent squad, but I don't know what it was yesterday. They were just sharper passing, more crisp. Their interchanging play was amazing. They were breaking on us with such fluency. Like, it was like within 3 or 4 passes, there was from defence to attack. It was quality. It was really quality from them. So I mean, I just think it was a quality issue more than an effort issue, which I initially thought. But yeah, it's one of them. It's a tough team to play against. We lost 3-0. We have to try and make amends on Wednesday night against Rotherham. And I have to learn not to be such a hothead immediately after games. So come on, you Lions.
Hi Millwall Tube. Reflections video for yesterday's defeat against Leeds United at the Den. Right, let's get the match details out of the way first, because there's something bigger that I want to touch on. Right, the referee, and I hope you got a bleep machine here, was an absolute wanker. He really was, even by our standards. They come down here with an attitude. His was worse than anyone. Chris Kavanagh, you are a twat. Anyway, that said, we huffed, we puffed. Yeah, we made a chance in each half. I say made. Ryan Longman made his own. Possibly Bradders, with a little help from the management, could have brought that under control and tapped it in. But we don't have a forward coach. I can't believe we do. Anyone who advises the forwards on what to do, not based on what we do anyway. And that really brings me on to the bigger point. There's an air around our club at the moment of stagnation, if you want. It's kind of a resignation that every week we're going to see that kind of performance. All right, you can possibly expect it away from home because you set up defensively. But however we set up, it always ends up with about 8 or 9 players all queuing up to pump the ball up to either the one midfielder who's left up there or the forward. Because if we play 2 forwards, it still ends up that way. They work so hard, and I'm not going to call out any of the team, because when I say they work so hard, I mean the whole team does. And you can't fault Bart for the goal, the first goal that being. You could fault the referee totally, yeah. But yeah, this whole club at the moment needs a massive shake-up, because we're beginning to go there now and expect the kind of dross that we're seeing, and we shouldn't have to. Previous managers, Dennis Wise, Steve Claridge, Neil Harris, they would have put passion into that team yesterday. They wouldn't have just gone at Leeds United. They would have found ways to hurt them. That's what a manager is there for, to instill that into your players, that you go at them and you make ways, because we're never going to compete with anyone on our budget, not in the way that Leeds can. And let's face it, they are no great shakes. They've got a wage bill of about £70 million. But if they were any good, they weren't going to be in the same division as us. They ain't going to be in the Championship, are they? They weren't good enough for the Premiership. They're a yo-yo team, like Norwich. And that was one of Gary Rowett's selling points, the fact that he stabilised the club. Yeah, he did that. But there's a point where stabilisation becomes boredom. And we're in that, well into that now. Gary, mate, you should just think to yourself, yeah, I've done as much as I can. My football is showing that I've taken the club as far as I can. I call it football. That ball spent as much time in the air yesterday as an 80s Watford or Wimbledon side would have produced, and going right back Middlesbrough in the 70s under Jack Charlton. It's not great to watch, and we're all becoming kind of resigned to it, but we shouldn't be. We really shouldn't be. We need a complete shake-up at the top. James Berylson, my friend, I know you've had a rough time, but your first duty now is to instruct those below you to have a word with the manager. This is a results business, and we're not going to get them. His KPIs, well, as I say, his key performance indicators. The fact that he stabilised us, the fact that he had a good defence, and also the fact that the Den was a fortress. The defence is leaking goals like a cylinder. A cylinder? A calendar even. Sorry, this is getting to me. And as for the goals, they just ain't happening. What have we scored? One home goal all season. And that is very concerning, because our season is going to stagnate and we are going to struggle. We are going to struggle unless the manager finally says, yeah, I've done enough and I'm going to walk. Because if he doesn't, from here on in, and I really hope I'm wrong here, but we're not going to finish mid-table, as I said in the predictions. We're going to stagnate and we'll have a fight on our hands. And it'll get, to use the current word of today, toxic. So yeah, we lost 3-0 yesterday, but there's teams far better than Leeds United in this championship this season that will hurt us. And Rotherham is a 6-pointer now, coming up on Wednesday. Come on, you Lions.
Oh,